Craig, I was tempted to go and hook a winch up to the fire hydrant, try to straighten my sign, but I had fears of all of a sudden pulling the fire out.
Do that. We have no fire hydrants in the neighborhood.
I could just see water shooting up into the sky, and I was like, "Oh, that was a bad idea."
Just tilts. It sticks out over the street. Just bother me.
It's 6 o'clock. We'll call to order the committee of the whole meeting for Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Pastor Steve is with us.
It's good to see you all and to be here and for the privilege of leading in prayer. Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, I thank you, Lord, for this team that works together and helps to run our city so well. And I pray, Lord, that you would bless the discussions today. It seems like there's nothing that we can do that doesn't cost a lot of money, and yet behind that are also vital services that make life here in Geneseo better. So help us to always remember that behind the price tag are people and services that just enhance our community. Help us to be good stewards of the resources that you provide through the taxpayers and also, Lord, in other ways through the generosity of people here in our community. We thank you for all of this. In Jesus' name, amen.
We could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Page roll call.
Rothschild.
Here.
Kennett. Swanson.
Here.
Barnhart.
Here.
Roothouse. James.
Here.
Samowski. Arnold.
Here. Okay, we have a quorum. Lauren, City Engineering Report.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess start off here, the Oakwood Avenue and North Street water main and water service relocation. I talked to Randy McClintock, the owner of the contractor, and he is planning on getting out here to seed when weather is suitable. IDOT has a new specification that it's no longer date specified, but more temperature driven. So we have to have so many warm days, ground temperature has to be certain temperatures. So as soon as everything is conducive, he will get back out here and get that regraded and reseeded. That's going to be kind of the same thing with North Street. They're going to finish up some seeding on their end, but that has to be when weather is conducive. But they've already started mobilizing equipment. I don't think that due to weather, they got delayed a couple days. So I think they're going to plan on either starting tomorrow or Thursday, I think Tyler said. But their plan is to go ahead and start on sanitary installation and then go to water main and then finish with storm. And I can give you guys an update next month on how they're coming along with that project. On the well 33, the pitless and the pitless has been installed. So we got it back from the manufacturer. It's oriented correctly. It's got the right height above the ground for the water department. And the VFD pump has been ordered. And so we've got a little bit of wait time on that. But now that we've got all our water information from the well, we've got that permit application in the IEPA, and there's about a 45-day review time on that. So hopefully that will come back and we can go ahead and get the rest of the piping done and the building up and have water to you guys soon. As far as reports and designs, the Exchange Street and Chicago Street sidewalk, we've got the first section done from, I believe it's Division to Chicago Street, which is about 600 feet. So we have all that designed and looking at hopefully getting that out to bid. Now, the city has a certain amount budgeted for this year. So if the bids happen to come in over, then we can reject all bids and move on, and we can use that money to get design done for the 12 or 1300 feet of sidewalk that's needed along Chicago Street, and then put it together and bid it as one big project next year. and get the money appropriated, hopefully correctly. Now, there is a possibility that bids come in really good, then maybe we can even start doing survey or some engineering design for that other section of Chicago Street yet this year. So,
Is it better to wait to make a bigger bid? Is a bigger project a better bid? Or not?
sometimes yes, but we have a contractor in town that's already got all his men and equipment here. So, is what we're hoping for is maybe that'll help drive down some cost because everybody knows that he's already in town. And if people are looking for work, then maybe they'll lower the bid to try to beat him out. So that's the whole part of competitive bid. So, I do believe that we have other attachments, part of my engineering report. If anybody wanted to have any questions regarding the plans that we have put together or the estimates of cost for Exchange Street or Chicago Street sections. But we've got pretty good quantities here for this section for the cost estimate. But then the piece for Chicago, we don't really have plans, so those are all estimated quantities for the estimate cost for the Chicago thing. So, and this is Exchange Street. So our estimate is actually, our original estimate didn't have quite as many driveways, but because some of the driveways were gravel and we originally were not going to update those, but we figured while we're making improvements to the area, we might as well just make everything look nice inside the right of way. And just, like Sean said in the past, why don't we just finish it and do it right the first time? So that's what we went ahead and did. And then, like I said, for the Chicago Street, we've got just a few less pay quantities or items to kind of go over, but that's kind of where we're looking at for doing that 1,800 feet of sewer there, or sidewalk there. So, is
Can you
there,
write the last street?
The last bid.
Yeah. How come the unit price is different than
what's that?
the Portland cement concrete sidewalk flooring is 19 a year? And the other one I thought was 15. Is there a reason there's a difference? Looks like the same product.
It is the same product, but because when you get a larger quantity, then sometimes it brings down your price. So that's what we're banking on or hoping for is we get with a larger volume or square yardage, then you can hopefully get a lower price on that. So, and again, these are just what we're seeing as average costs for comparative type projects. So. All right, you want to go back to my engineering report so I can finish that? Thank you, Jamie. So the pedestrian bridge, of course, is still on hold until we hear from the grant. The water systems analysis, we are working with the city and we've got some, I guess, very good direction and finishing up now with a good plan on how we're going to get everything costed out. We're also going to make submittal for the state revolving fund, which is needs to be into IEPA by the end of the month. So we'll get that signed by everyone and get that turned in. And we're still in the waiting process for approval for Olivia Drive water main loop. IEPA still has that, and the original window on that was 90 days from submittal, which was, I think, back in February. So is there any questions?
Okay,
All right.
thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on the agenda to item number 5 would be public comments related to agenda items. City ordinance allows members of the public to speak and give input up to 3 minutes. During public comment, there can be no debate or action by the city council at this time. Mr. Steve, anyone? Ann? Chief, anybody in the lobby? Okay, moving on. Tonight, mayor's comments. I have a proclamation to read for Junior Achievement Day. Ooh, it's tiny. Whereas the city of Geneseo will observe Junior Achievement Day on the first Thursday in April as an opportunity to recognize and celebrate junior achievement of the Heartland for empowering our young people to their own economic success. Whereas Junior Achievement of the Heartland's educational contribution equips our young people to become the next generation of productive employees and self-sufficient citizens to ensure the economic prosperity of Geneseo. Whereas it's fitting for parents, educators, businesses, and other members of the community to join in junior achievements efforts to ensure future success and economic health for our young people and the communities in which they live. Now, therefore, Sean Johnson, Mayor of Geneseo, do hereby proclaim official recognition of April 3rd, 2025 as Junior Achievement Day in Geneseo. I have no other mayor comments at this time. City council comments?
Yes, real quick. Not many, I don't know how many know this, but today is Chief Casey's birthday. So happy birthday, Chief. So, and I hope you have a great day.
Anyone else from the council? Okay, Brandon, city administrator comments.
All right, a few updates on some of our activities coming up. We have hydrant flushing coming up on March 31st through April the 4th. Yard waste curbside pickup begins on March 31st and April 1st, depending on your refuse pickup day. If your trash pickup day is Thursday, your first yard waste curbside pickup day will be on Monday the 31st. If it's on Fridays, it'll be on April the 1st, which is a Tuesday. Cemetery spring cleanup is underway. We ask everybody to remove any items that are not attached to headstones before March 31st. April 1st, staff will begin picking up and disposing of items that are left out if they're not picked up and taken out. Spring cleanup is May 5th through May 8th. You can visit the city website, Facebook page to find out more information about your quadrant when the curbside pickup will take place and other rules surrounding that. And then we would like to congratulate, this was just announced yesterday. It came out, Eric Rowald and the Geneseo Electric Utility has received the 2024 Certificate of Excellence in Reliability designation by the American Public Power Association. What this means is that Geneseo is in the top quartile of utilities for system average interruption duration nationwide compared to all other utilities. So it's a big deal. If Jamie wants to click on that link there. Oh, it's not on this version. Well,
Will you refresh it? I did this in a while.
oh, well, let's try the refresh. Just
Oh, I didn't think
nice
that.
little, I added a little graphic down there. Nice little graphic representation that we plan on using on some future materials. It's good for attracting folks to future residents to Geneseo, but just shows nationwide in 2024 what the average outage time was amongst all utilities nationwide versus Geneseo, which was 25 minutes on average. So congrats to Eric and his team.
Anything else, Brandon?
Nope.
Okay, moving on, item number 9 under administration would be 9.1 O-25-05 tree care guidelines.
Okay, so one of our goals for this year, we stated we are going to go through the process of completing an application for Geneseo to become a Tree City USA. There's some steps that we need to take this spring to accomplish that. One of them is passing an ordinance that acknowledges tree care standards in Geneseo. That's what's before you tonight. Some of the other things we'll do at the next meeting, we will announce an Arbor Day proclamation, announce a tree planting ceremony, and some other things that we need to do to complete this application, which will be due this fall. This ordinance specifically goes through some pretty basic things surrounding tree care. It puts down in ordinance form some programs that we already have in place, such as the tree replanting incentive program, the nuisance standards on dead trees. It also goes over prohibited trees in city right of way, and just defines tree planting in general and how we go about that with interaction with utility services and planting in city right of way.
Motion to recommend approval of O-25-05 to the city council meeting and to place on the consent agenda.
Motion by Arnold,
Second.
second by Swanson. Roll call.
Rothschild,
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Barnhart,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Arnold.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. 9.2 under administration would be R-25-05, surplus property.
So this is a surplus property resolution. We have three items listed here in the Exhibit A section that we wish to officially declare as surplus and sell by best means that we determine. Item number one is a police Ford Explorer that's been replaced or is being replaced.
Correct, it is.
Is replaced. It is being replaced. Okay, thanks, Chief.
It's the one that's officially in production at the moment.
Okay. So we will dispose of that at the right time here this year. And then in the electric department, we have a 1993 and 1986 Ditch Witch. One is a large trencher, one is a walk-behind trencher and trailer. The council approved in the budget for purchase of a new trenching machine that we already have. So it's time to get rid of the 1980s and 90s equipment.
Motion to recommend approval R-2505 to the city council meeting to place on the consent agenda.
Motion by Arnold. Second by Rothschild. Roll call.
Arnold,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Barnhart,
Yes.
Swanson.
Yes.
Rothschild.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. 9.3 under administration would be R-25-06, the purchase of electric department materials for the North State Street project.
Okay, so as Lauren talked about in the engineering report, we have Phase 1B starting back up this week of the North State Street project that is from Palace Row to Wells. So that will complete this summer. We've been, for the past couple of months, the mayor, staff, and myself have talking about staging for Phase 2 of the North State Street project. This is from Wells to Ogden on State Street. And what we are preliminarily proposing to do, which I have some figures if Jamie scrolls down a little bit, just wanted to have all this information in here for you guys. In this year's budget planning sessions, we plan to propose to start Phase 2 next year in 2026, wrapping up in 2027. We plan to propose to do this out of fund balance. These are preliminary numbers here. The cost estimates from IMEG of Phase 2, the total project is $3.4 million. We do plan to do this again out of fund balance, and it's a preliminary look at just some of that planning that we're doing at City Hall right now. I bring that up because this resolution tonight is actually to approve additional expenses for the electric department to purchase materials so they can get ahead of the general contractor that will be bid out and hired to do the underground and the pavement work for Phase 2. So electric really needs to get ahead of this year. We need to get the materials ordered and start getting things in so they can be out of the way of the contractor if we want to pick this project right back up in 2026 and continue progress down to the high school.
So why didn't they budget this in last year then?
Well, we did not have any planning on Phase 2 at that time. Initially, we thought maybe Phase 2 would be 27,
Correct.
28, but we think we can continue on with this project in 26. And instead of delaying for those residents, having a gap in construction, that we just keep moving forward and get it done.
And
down to the high school.
need to continue because we need to, part of the long-term capital plan that we talk about, Chad, and the entire administration is the need. What do you call the final phase, Chad, along Exchange Street?
Phase 3.
Is that 3?
Mhm.
Okay. That's gonna come with a significant expense. So I think it's important that we can get the work done that we can get done now. And, it's compliments to the entire staff, council, everybody, the fact that we can look at doing this out of fund balance. Because when we get to that Phase 3, we're gonna have to get creative with grants and bonding of money and lots of means to pull that off. So rather than skip a year to keep going is important. So the timeline may have changed a little bit. This is part of, like Brandon
This
said.
just covers Stage 2, it doesn't cover, is there more electric costs for Stage 3?
Well, there will be, but I would say that, that's far enough out in the future. We're not there yet.
Stage 3 for electric will be In that area, the biggest thing could be street lighting. Everything else is behind the businesses in the alley. There's some stuff on Exchange Street that will have to be addressed, but.
We know that phase 3 is going to be complicated through early discussions with engineering because there's a lot of ADA compliance issues that we're going to have to take care of with the pavement and when the street goes back in. When we talk about phase 3, we're talking about on State Street from Park down to Exchange and then east to west, Oakwood to Center Street. So it's kind of a T formation for that phase 3 part of the project.
And there's a lot of conversation because it's important we get ahead of a lot of that work with as far as, if we use federal funds or grants or grant opportunities. So all that, we've begun all that already. So.
No, I'm all on board about being forward, thinking about it.
But
we knew
yeah,
this was coming.
That's an example of how the timeline kind of changed as the staff talked about things.
Okay.
When we budgeted this in October, we broke this into 2 phases. We knew we were going underground. We were doing some pre-work this year to get duct work in from Wells to Ogden to get ahead of it. But moving the project forward, we're going to have to move forward with it. We thought we had 2 years to do it, and now.
So this is all the power that's going, you're putting it underground instead of on poles, right?
Yeah, because.
So are we doing this with projects that come up in the future then? We're gonna look
If
at.
if we're able to do it. Since this is a single phase line and not a 3-phase line going down State Street, it's easier to put it underground at this time.
And single phase would be like residential?
Just one line, it's one primary line going across with secondaries below it.
And what's the difference in the 3 phase? If you don't mind?
So, yeah, single phase line, 7,200 volts. If you have a 3-phase line, you have potential of 12%.
So an example where it's not always feasible would be the Chicago Street project that we're talking about with the sidewalk there, because that's complicating how we look at that project and get that sidewalk in there because it would not be feasible or.
Yeah, so Chicago Street is what we call one of our main loops. It's a 600 amp loop. If you were to bury that, it's bigger wire, bigger conduit, more cost.
Right. Is there any concern, we're counting on federal funds, we all hear about federal funds are all being slashed, so is it really feasible to say we'll start to keep saving these things out? I worry that we're counting on, we're gonna get these federal funds and
Yeah.
we've all seen that those are slashed like crazy.
I don't know that I would necessarily characterize it, Jamie, feel free, that we're counting on federal funds. I think we're doing the
It's not-
legwork.
it's one of the things.
We're doing the legwork now to utilize every stream of funding towards this project that we can. But at the end of the day, from there, if we're committed to this in the capital plan, like we are, we're going to have to figure out how we make that work. So it's like opening every door we can in the meantime and figuring out then what we really are on the hook for.
Makes sense.
Don't forget your mic.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Motion to recommend approval, wait a minute, did I do it? Yeah, of R-2506 to the city council meeting and to place on the consent agenda.
Motion by Arnold,
I'll second.
second by Barnhart. Roll call.
James,
Yes.
Rothschild,
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Barnhart,
Yes.
Arnold.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. 9.4 under administration would be the North Water Tower Rehabilitation IMEG proposal for services.
So this is a proposal by IMEG for services to do the paperwork, the design work, and handle the bidding process for the North Water Tower Rehabilitation Project. As we discussed in the last meeting, we are going to have to go to bid on this project. So this is for those services. This, and Lauren can fill in any gaps I'm missing, but this does not include, IMEG has recommended hiring another company to do inspection services that specializes in that field on the actual coatings that will go on the tower. So there will be some additional fees for that inspector to come out and do their analysis on the coatings. But this is for the primary services to take this to official bid.
So we were trying to bypass all this the last time with whatever Keith came up with, and that fell through, so now we're doing this? Is that how I'm
Yes.
understanding it? And what's the coating? What is that? It's a water tower, is it?
Paint. I guess you would call it paint.
It is.
It's pretty much just it's a series of coatings and paint. I guess a generic term for it is we're just recoating it so that way it doesn't rust and it keeps the steel from being exposed to the elements.
But wouldn't somebody who bids on this project know that and do that and look at it first? Or,
So there's.
I mean, I don't know why we're doing a,
Well, you still have to put together certain parameters so that way everybody's bidding. Because you have to follow Illinois fair bidding rules, right? So you have to put a set of documents together. So everybody puts together a bid for, I guess, like services. So everybody's playing on the same field. So you're not comparing apples and oranges. So I guess that's one way. to
and that's what the
explain it.
10,000 does. That's what you guys are doing?
Yes, we're going to put together some plans. We'll have a profile view of the tower, tell them how tall it is. We'll kind of have,
It's gonna be different than the one that's out there now?
No. It's just we have the old plan, so we're going to give that to the contractor so they can kind of take off their own quantities for how big the surface area is and all that. So, and how they're going to attack either stripping the paint and then or reapplying the paint. So
There's not a standard way of doing that, or is it?
we can't.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I don't
We
know.
can't direct them on how to do the work. We just give them how we want it to end up in the end.
But like he said, they have to put tarps and stuff over it now, or canopies now, so the paint doesn't go everywhere.
It depends on the process, right? Everybody has their own means and methods. So if they would want to use the conventional sandblast with sand, then yes, they're going to have to tarp it and keep contamination from going elsewhere. But if somebody else has the same process that this other gentleman had at this other engineering or this other painting company, where they can use water blasting, then maybe that's an option. So,
So we just basically say you have to contain,
right.
the whatever you call it.
And how many companies out there do this kind of work, if I may ask? How many bids should we get in? 10?
I have no
2?
idea. How about that?
You're an IMEG. You've done this a lot.
That's right.
Well, obviously, it depends on the time of year, but
It all depends on people's workloads,
Correct.
So some contractors, even though they're available and they do good work, they may not bid on it because they don't want to, pardon my language, mess with it. So you can't force everybody to bid. I mean, it's America, so you have your right to bid or not bid.
let's change that. Okay.
Hopefully we get some good competitive bids.
Well, from what I understand is talking with Keith and in the past meetings, the water blasting would be the way to go because from how I understand it, if they go with the sand blasting, once they put the tarp up, they have to actually attach that to the water tower, correct? And then once that comes down, we got to drain that water tower. Then they got to go in the inside and they got to fill them holes. So water blasting, if somebody does that, that would be the way to go.
Is that what Keith was proposing?
Yeah.
But is that the only company that's out there that does that? It
Oh,
seemed
I'm
like,
sure there's got to be others.
I-
But I'm just saying that would be the best case because we don't want to have to drain that thing and then go inside and fill them holes and weld that stuff back together. And when you can just water blast it and have it all run down on the tarp, that would be the greatest. We could find somebody to do that. That'd be awesome. Right. Okay.
Conversation draining.
The main purpose of draining the tower will be for the condensation in the startup time.
do they waste that water? Does it get reused? Do you run it through and
We would lower our towers that we can lower it down for system pressure. And then we'd have to shut the valve off that tower, then we'd have to hydrate to our 300,000 gallons.
And I'll use it for this.
okay, we got enough of those in town. All right. Motion to recommend approval of the IMEG proposal for services on the North Water Rehabilitation Project to the City Council meeting and to place on the consent agenda.
Motion by Arnold,
Second.
second by Swanson. Roll call.
Rothschild,
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Barnhart,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Arnold.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item number 10 would be the payment of city and utility bills.
Motion to pay the bills is presented.
Any further discussion about the bills? Motion by Arnold,
I'll second.
second by Rothschild. Roll call.
Arnold,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Barnhart,
Yes.
Swanson.
Yes.
Rothschild.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item number 11 would be public comment related to all other items. City ordinance allows members of the public to speak and give input up to 3 minutes. During public comment, there can be no debate or action by the city council at this time. Any change of heart, Pastor Steve or Ann?
All right, I'll just say one thing.
Okay.
Just a sort of a lesson on flexibility. 2 years ago, we were having a baptism service at our church, and you guys were doing flushing of the water hydrants, and the water all came in brown. So all of a sudden, my folks are looking and they're saying, how are we going to have a baptism service? I said, Jesus was baptized in the Jordan River. It was known to be a muddy river. This is an authentic baptism. We just did one. We're okay.
Lisa, don't print that.
Okay, without any other public comment, motion by Arnold. Second by Rothschild. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.
See that, Bob? You got your story.